age where most people like to retire or the wealthy people like to go on their yachting expeditions. He chose to leave the holy land of Sri Vrindavan Dham in India and crossed the borders and the oceans and came all the way to the Western world here in the United States and established the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. It is a monotheistic society and a non-sectarian society. A quick look around the room will tell you that we truly are non-sectarian. And the primary mission of ISKCON or Hare Krishna movement is the well-being of the society by explaining the teachings through Krishna consciousness in accordance with the two primary sacred texts or the Vedic literatures. These Vedic literatures also form the theological foundation of this society. Bhagavad Gita as it is and Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavad means by the God, by Bhagavan, and Gita means a song. Bhagavad Gita means a song spoken by God. And we have a class in the temple every Sunday starting at 3:45 p.m. The address is 14 Arbok Avenue, and some of us here from ISKCON, Connecticut can help you with the more details of the program and the address if you are interested. That's Bhagavad Gita class. And our next principal literature is Srimad Bhagavatam. And you can see different texts displayed here. It's actually looking more like a tower right now. Srimad Bhagavatam sets or towers. Srimad Bhagavatam again means, the word Bhagavat means related to God. Bhagavad Gita is song spoken by God and Srimad Bhagavatam is song spoken about the God. So, Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, he tells his disciple and devotee and friend Arjuna in chapter 4 of Bhagavad Gita that one who understands the transcendental nature of my appearance and activities does not upon leaving his body takes birth again but returns to my eternal abode, O Partha. So that is one of the objectives of all practicing devotees, that we want to come out of the cycle of birth and death and resume our original service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his eternal abode. And Srimad Bhagavatam is the narration of his appearance and transcendental activities. So it is the very foundation on which the teachings of our society are built. And that's why this literature is so important. There is a verse, Nashtaprayashu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya, which means that by the regular recitation and hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, all that is unwanted from the heart is eradicated. And the supreme devotion to Lord Krishna is established irrevocably in the heart. Irrevocably, it's firmly established, and you become a steady devotee, and you attain the highest object of life, which is Krishna Prema. Today is a especially auspicious day, as explained in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 12. I believe we have some printouts today. There should be a reference on that somewhere. That on this day, if one gives Srimad Bhagavatam or invites Srimad Bhagavatam to their home, then one goes back home, back to Godhead. And this day is called the Bhadra Purnima day. It's Purnima today, full moon. So when you step out, you can see behind the clouds, it's full moon day. And that's why we are having this celebration. And when there is our special guests and speakers are here. Hare Prabhu ki Jai. Hare Krishna Shri Mata Ji ki Jai.
સ્ટેન્ડ આવવાના છે ટાટા સિંધુ ખોખો સ્ટેન્ડની વ્યવસ્થા કરું છું
You all can sit, and the arrival is the cue that I have to stop talking now. Thank you very much for your attention. Hare Krishna.
Or it's not, I'd just like to thank everyone for coming. That was some of my magical powers. It's a wonderful crowd here. So we're going to just chant for just a couple of minutes of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which I'm quite certain everyone knows. And if you don't know, it's not hard to learn. Yeah, and if you don't know it and you know how to read, it's over here. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. O Premanandi. Hare Krishna. So I'm so happy to see so many wonderful people here today. So I'm here to speak a little bit about the Srimad Bhagavatam. Let's start with, people read newspapers, people read magazines, people certainly read online, so many things. They may read books, fiction books, maybe books on help books. And then there are even many spiritual books. And out of all the spiritual books, the Srimad Bhagavatam is considered the cream of all Vedic literatures. First of all, out of all spiritual books, the Vedas are the best. The Vedas are the most complete. If you read, we're not saying there's anything wrong with other spiritual books, but they're not so complete. Like comparing It's like one scripture might be like a pocket dictionary compared to a college dictionary. The Vedas give so much more information about the absolute truth. And out of all the Vedic literatures, the Srimad Bhagavatam is considered to be the cream of the Vedas. The cream is the best part of the milk, is the cream. It's also considered the ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic knowledge. Even the person who wrote, who knows who wrote all the Vedic literatures? Anybody? Okay. Cool.
Veda Vyasi.
Veda Vyas, yes, Veda Vyasa. So Srila Vyasadeva. Now he wrote all the Vedic literatures, and in the Bhagavatam it even tells this story about after writing all the Vedic literatures. It's like if you do something really good, you do so much good work, whatever it might be, you really feel it's a really good cause, you do so much, and you're not satisfied after doing it. Now, not only was Vyasadeva, he had a spiritual master, Narada Muni, who instructed him to write the Vedic literature. So not only was he doing a good thing, he knew he was doing the right thing because his Guru Maharaj instructed him to do this. So even after doing it, he wasn't satisfied. He was despondent. He felt incomplete. I just did this whole big service and I'm still not satisfied. What did I do wrong? So when you're in a situation like that, what you're supposed to do, and what Srila Vyasadeva did, is he went to his guru, Narada Muni. Everyone here has heard of Narada Muni? The transcendental spaceman. He can travel to different planets just by playing his Veena. Doesn't need a spaceship. And he can travel not only to planets in this universe, he can go out of this universe to the spiritual world or to another universe. He's free to go anywhere and everywhere just by playing on his Veena. So anyway, it may not have been easy for Srila Vyasadeva to find him. But he did find him. And he asked him about this problem. I did all of this, and I'm still not satisfied. And Narada Muni's response was, you haven't, so in one sense, you did a disservice, because you spoke so much about karma kanda. To have, you do this particular thing and you get this particular thing. Some material business, basically. And he said, you haven't sufficiently broadcasted the glories of the Lord. So you haven't sufficiently broadcasted the glories of the Lord. That's what's missing. You did all of these things, and you did touch on it a little bit, but not sufficient. And that's why you're not satisfied. So now, Srila Vyasadeva, who's also considered an incarnation of God, so you might think, why is an incarnation of God not knowing what the problem is? But he's an empowered incarnation, and as an incarnation, even Krishna, who's the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, had a spiritual master, Sandapani Muni, and he went to him and got instructions. So you go to your spiritual master, so you're setting a precedent. You're setting an example. What a great man does, common men follow. And whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, all the world pursues. That's a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. So to set the example, he went to his guru. His guru instructed him, you have to glorify the Lord more. So then he was mature. He already wrote all the Vedic literatures. Now he's the most realized. It's just like the older you get, you kind of learn a lot about how things work in this material world. And you don't make those, and lots of times when you're old, you think, oh, if only I knew then what I know now. I could be so much more successful. So, I mean, I could think if I knew then, when Srila Prabhupada arrived in New York in 1965, I was there in New York. I could have gone and seen him. I could have done so many things. But, I didn't know it then. So what can you do? There's that saying, you can't cry over spilled milk. I don't know how many people know that saying. I mean, you can certainly cry over it, but it doesn't help anything. So then, while he was mature, he knew so much more than he knew earlier when he first started. At that point, he sat down and he wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the Srimad Bhagavatam, as I mentioned, it's the cream of Vedic literatures. It's the ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic knowledge. It's the best part of the Vedas. And it deals with the glories of the Lord and his devotees. So, and they're just basically all different stories. There is philosophy also in it, because in the stories there's philosophy you just learn. And by just hearing these topics, you get purified, your heart gets cleansed. Just like we were chanting this mantra, Hare Krishna, that's purifying. It cleanses our heart. So similarly, by reading the Bhagavatam, one's heart becomes cleansed. There are some verses I have from the Bhagavatam, which are nice verses. I'm going to read a few, and then see if anyone has any questions, then I'll read a few more, if you don't have any questions. Or if I got to give you a quick, short answer, I'll read a few more. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayat. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supreme human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Now you might think, Srila Vyasadeva, why is he saying you should offer obeisances to him? Because he wrote it. So I'd like to explain a little bit about the Bhagavatam. It's not just what Vyasadeva is saying. Vyasadeva spoke this Bhagavatam to his son Sukadeva Goswami. Sukadeva Goswami spoke it to the sages of the forest of Naimisharanya. That's a whole other story about the Bhagavatam. There is a forest, Naimisharanya, 5,000 years ago. There was great sages all went there to try to counteract the effects of Kali Yuga. This is Kali Yuga. It's an age. It's a very degraded age. And they saw it's coming. So these are great sages. They tried to help people, not just help them materially, but help them permanently, spiritually. Helping someone materially is nice, but it doesn't really, like for instance, you have a boil. A boil, anybody, maybe you don't want to admit you had a boil. I had a boil. But if you have a boil, it really is painful. And if you blow at it, it feels better. But it doesn't help anything. So helping someone materially is almost like blowing on a boil. It doesn't really help them. So to help, you go to a doctor and they cut it open and they take out the pus, and then that's what really does it. So if you want to help someone, and the reason for that is because even if I'll give myself my own experience. I was in Kolkata. It used to be Calcutta, but now it's Kolkata. And myself and with my wife Jiva, she was there, and we went out. It was just dusk, starting to get dark, and there's many people, families, just sleeping on the street. And a rat went by, and apparently Jiva, I didn't see it, but Jiva, so she kind of got scared, and this ladies, they kind of laughed, like you're afraid of a rat, So these people kind of live with rats. They don't have a place even to live. Their whole family, there's kids living there. So we were thinking, how can we help them? So I'll tell you what I thought. I'll tell you what we did. Basically, what we did was we gave them prasadam. The next day, we went and gave them prasadam, which is food that's been offered to Krishna with love and devotion. So by eating that, you're not just nourishing the body, but you're nourishing the soul simultaneously. But I thought, what if we put them in a 5-star hotel? We got them all new clothes. We got them a beautiful meal in a 5-star restaurant. And then the next day, they're back out on the street. How does that help them? Okay, so we take it a little further. We do it for a year. We take care of them for 1 year. Then we put them out on the street. How's that helping them? They're back out on the street. So even if you do it for the whole lifetime, and then the next lifetime they're back out on the street, how is that helping them? But if you help someone spiritually, then you can help them progress so they don't have to come back to this material world at all. So the only thing we could do for these people was to help them spiritually. We can give them prasadam. If I spoke their language, I could just tell them something about Krishna. But that's the real way you can help somebody. So the sages at Naimisharanya were thinking of helping them spiritually. And they were discussing what's the best thing to do. And then, is this with Sutta? Sutta Goswami. No, it was first Naimisharanya? Oh, that's when Sukadev, yes, Sukadev Goswami walked in. Yes, he was actually totally above the material platform because he didn't wear any clothes. He was completely free. Actually, when he was walking, there's so much to it. There's so much. But anyway, the women were bathing and he was going through. And they could see he wasn't at all looking at them in any lusty way. He was seeing them as a spirit soul. But when his father, Vyasadeva, came, they covered themselves. So he was the most Krishna conscious. He heard the Bhagavatam while he was in the womb of his mother. And previously before he was born, he was an impersonalist or an equal balance monist. It says, so it didn't matter whether he came out of the womb or he stayed in the womb. It didn't make any difference. Nothing mattered. It's all one. That's his philosophy was. But then he heard the Bhagavatam, and then he's seen there is a distinction. The Bhagavatam teaches basically Achintya Veda Veda Tattva. Simultaneously, everything is one, inconceivably, simultaneously one and different. So there is some purpose. There's a reason to live. There's some reason to be born. So he was excited after he heard the Bhagavatam, and he came out and he was older because he was in the womb for years. He didn't have a reason to get out. I don't know how his mother did it. But this is in the Vedic explains how he was 13 years old, 12 years old before he came out. And when he came out, after knowing the Bhagavatam, he didn't want to get involved in material attachment. So he immediately left home. And his father Vyasadeva chased him. And it says, and only the trees echoed in response to Vyasadev's calling out to his son. So Sukadeva Goswami is the most elevated personality, completely transcendental. And he came in the forest of Naimisharanya. And at that time, he spoke the Bhagavatam. I'm getting things confused because he also spoke the Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. Did he also go, Sukadeva, to Naimisharanya? Sutta, that's what I was saying. Sutta, that's what I was saying. Okay, so I got to go back. Sukadeva Goswami spoke the Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit, who was the king of the world. This is all in the Bhagavatam. That's why it's not always easy to remember all these things. And he spoke it to Maharaj Parikshit. At this time also was discussing what is the duty of a man who is about to die. He was the king of the world, but he was cursed to die within 7 days. So he renounced everything. He went to the Ganges, bank of the Ganges River, and all sages from the universe came there, and they were discussing what is the duty of a man who is about to die. Then Sukadeva Goswami came there, and Sukadeva Goswami at that time spoke to him the Srimad Bhagavatam. For 7 days, he spoke the Bhagavatam. Maharaj Parikshit didn't eat, didn't drink, wasn't hungry, wasn't thirsty, wasn't tired, didn't sleep. He just heard the Bhagavatam. Many of us, when we hear the Bhagavatam, but he was completely transcendental. And when you're going to die, it's, to hear these things, you don't want it to end. You just want to listen. And then he had some questions, and he asked questions, and then he answered. And Sutta Goswami was in the audience, and he heard it. So then in the Farasanama Sharanya, Sutta Goswami then explained the Bhagavatam again. So at these different times, when Sutta Goswami was saying it, this is, he's saying to glorify the author, Srila Vyasadeva. All that just to explain that one little bit about why it says, and also offer our respectful obeisances to Srila Vyasadeva. In case anyone, because I had that question when I read it, why would Vyasadeva say offer your obeisances to Vyasa? It's like me writing something and saying offer your obeisances to Lord Narayan, Saraswati, and Pyari Mohan. So he didn't say it himself. This was Sutta Goswami who said it. Okay, I only read one of these verses from the Bhagavatam, but I have several more. But does anyone have any questions on the Bhagavatam?
Can you read it in 7 days?
Read it in 7 days? If I didn't eat, if I didn't drink, and I didn't sleep, probably.
Is there any has anybody read in a particular
Okay,
direction?
first of all, this Bhagavatam that we have is not the same as was spoken. First of all, there's 3 different speakers in here. There's Srila Vyasadeva, there's Sutta Goswami, and Sukadeva Goswami. So you got a little more in that way. That's number 1. Number 2 is the purports. We also have the purports in here. And the purports are really, really important because that helps you to understand what the meaning is of the verse you just read. So you might read something and not understand it, so there's a purport to explain it. So that makes it longer. And we have also the Sanskrit and the English. Sanskrit, then the word for word from Sanskrit to English, then the English, and actually the Sanskrit, the Devanagari, then the transliteration, if you can't read Devanagari, how you would read it, and then word for word, then the translation, and then the purport. So it's more to read if you want to read it all. If you just read the verses, I think the English say, you could probably do that in 7 days. But you have to, even doing that, you've got to really be determined. And you got to make sure your boss doesn't mind. Especially when you're working from home.
Then the wife would mind. Then the wife would mind.
So, any other questions? Yeah.
So maybe the day was longer in that age as compared to Kali. Today we have 24 hours. So
I think it was the same. I would think. The days, the time, it explains in the Bhagavatam, like on the heavenly planets, the time is different. 1 day on the heavenly planets is 6 months over here, and 1 night on the heavenly planets is 6 months. So when we have a year, that's only 1 full day on the heavenly planets. And so you can read, there's a chapter of time calculated by the atom, if you want to try to figure that one out. But so there's some scientific thing. I mean, even this was written 5,000 years ago. It explains what the baby is like in the womb after 1 day, after 1 week, after months. And they didn't have these instruments they have today. And it's exactly as the scientists today say what the baby is like in the womb. Like, how can you know such a thing 5,000 years ago? They didn't have this. I mean, you think 5,000 years ago there's a bunch of cavemen running around. They were so smart. And cavemen, if you study Sanskrit, it's amazing language. It's so perfect a language. But, and these English is so imperfect. So many words, just not logical at all. You pronounce it one way. I mean, your nose smell and your feet. Your nose runs and your feet smell.
Maybe if you can share some of your experiences when you heard Srila Prabhupada explain the Bhagavatam, if you remember any of his.
Well, I remember one class in Vrindavan. He was talking about the deities and the deities of Krishna and Balaram. I don't know if any of you know our temple in Vrindavan, Krishna Balaram deities. And he was seeing that the deities are, the devotee who's bathing the deities. They're black and white, made of marble. And the devotee who is cleaning the floor, which is also black and white marble. He said, there's no difference. It's no difference what you're doing. If you're doing it for Krishna, it's not like, this service, everyone thinks that this service is so much more important, I'm so much greater. But Krishna doesn't see like that. Krishna sees that it's the love and devotion. And you can be bathing the deities thinking of some nonsense, or you can be washing the floor thinking of Krishna, that you're doing it to please him. You're cleansing your heart by cleaning his floor. I'm cleaning my heart. And you can be thinking like that. So which is better? So it doesn't matter so much. It's not like one service is higher than another service. They're all absolute. If you're doing them to please Krishna. So that was one class. There's so many things he said in class. Another one in New York, I remember, just talking about the modes of material nature. There's 3 modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Sattva gun, Rajas gun, and Tama gun. And he was saying, just like there's 3 primary colors, Srila Prabhupada was so just expert at explaining things so that the Westerners could understand. And it's not just for Westerners, even Indian people can understand much easier. He said, just like there's 3 primary colors, and if you mix them together, then he said 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 9 is 81. Therefore, there are, just like he was comparing the colors to the modes of nature. Therefore, there are 8,400,000 different species, because the different species are in different modes of nature, combination of these modes. So you think about, well, I'm in the mode of goodness, or I'm in the mode of passion. You're not, none of us, it says, are in complete goodness or complete passion or complete ignorance. We're mixed. Some more good, more of one than the other. All of us are mixed, and we all have more of one that's more prominent than the other two. So it's just like the 3 colors. You can get an idea with the 3 colors, how many different colors you can have. Especially now on the computer, you can make so many different colors. It gives you some idea. So there's so many different modes of nature, and there's different species and different living entities in each one of these different modes of nature. Do you remember anything, Bhagavatam?
I was in a Bhagavatam class in California. It was during the Rath Yatra. And Prabhupada was talking about the heavenly planets, how the demigods look. And it seemed more like, he was actually seeing it when he was saying it to me. That's what the impression I got. And also where else can you find descriptions of God his friends, living entities on other planets, but the Bhagavatam. He said everything is there. Everything you're looking for, answers to all your questions, it's all in the Bhagavatam. I don't know. Mostly my experience was in reading Prabhupada's purports with the Bhagavatam. It actually changed my life. When I first started reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, I was in high school. I would get up before going to school and read maybe a verse and a purport. And it just struck me how what Prabhupada is saying is like exactly the way it is. It's like perfect what he was saying. His just the way the world functions and how we should see things. Because I could feel my own limitations, but everything he said, it was beyond what I could think and where I could go. And, it was just perfect. And I felt I can trust this person because what he's saying is the absolute truth. And I think that's. I don't remember any classes.
I remember when I first came to Krishna consciousness, I was very much interested in the philosophy, the understanding of who I am, who God is, relationship with God, I was more interested in that. And I remember reading the Bhagavatam, and I remember when I got to like the stories or who's who, Queen Kunti and this person and that person. At that time, I wasn't so interested. I just wanted to learn the philosophy. I didn't really care. Then I came to another platform where I guess I knew the philosophy, satisfied with the philosophy, didn't need any more philosophy. And then I became very interested in the personalities in the Bhagavatam. And then I would read the stories, knowing, it was like this wonderful, wonderful stories. Because these personalities are not ordinary human beings. They're very special to be in the Bhagavatam. Even there might be some demons in the Bhagavatam, they're also special. They're not like little demons, they're big demons. Okay, I'll read one more verse. I'm going to try to, I don't know how long, somebody's got to let me know when 45 minutes is up or 30 minutes or how long do you want me to be here. Or if you want me to stop now.
30 minutes in terms of heavenly planet?
In terms of light years.
I think just now 30 minutes because people are going to have to go to work and stuff. Shvin, let me put this back in here. Shvinvatam svakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana Ridyantastoya Bhadrani Vidunoti Suritsatam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So our hearts can become clean just by developing the desire to hear. And we read just recently somewhere where even if you don't have time to read, you don't have time because you're so busy doing devotional service, just wanting to read is purifying. Just having that desire. Even if you have so much engagements, you don't have time to read. Nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktya bhavati naistiki By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So just by hearing Bhagavatam regularly, by serving the pure devotees, all the troublesome things in the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service to the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. You become a servant of God by just reading the Bhagavatam. Your heart gets cleansed. It's not a material thing. You can't try to understand it materially. It's just it's a science in a sense, just like in science. If you have an experiment, if you do a certain thing, then you're going to get a certain result. So similarly, if you make yourself hear Srimad Bhagavatam, you will get a result. You'll get purified. And you have to experiment. It's a science that you have to do it on yourself. It's not a science you have to do anything terrible on yourself. You just have to read and hear. And try to hear with full attention. Okay, does anyone have any questions? Okay, I don't know if I should read more. I don't want to take too much. Yes, who is that behind the glass?
Your servant. How marriage life is purification?
How married life is purification?
Yes.
Okay. Well, in married life, there's grihastas and there's grihamadis. Grihamadis their life is simply how one can enjoy sense gratification. And the grihasta is an ashram where one can work together cooperatively to try to serve Krishna or serve God. So now even in the grihasta ashram, where the husband and wife are both devotees trying to serve God, there's some difficulties. Difficulties are going to be there no matter what. You can be single as a brahmachari, a sannyasi. There's difficulties in every ashram. There's going to be difficulties. So the purification is mainly to just stick with hearing and chanting in spite of so many difficulties. Whether you're a sannyasi, whether you're a grihasta, vanaprastha, or sannyas, or brahmachari. Skip that one. There's always, it's a material world. There's no, so in one ashram, the grass is always greener on the other side. When you're a grihasta, if I was a sannyasi, then I'd be happy. And then sannyasi's looking, I wish I could just sit down and talk to some woman.
It's true desire to become a sannyasi, I think.
Huh?
His true desire is to become a sannyasi.
Say that again.
His true desire is to become a sannyasi. That's why he asked this type of question.
No, his true desire is not to be married with his wife and kids.
That's why he's asking when his wife is not here.
No, sannyas, you don't take sannyas up because household life is difficult, therefore I want to take sannyas. You have to fulfill your obligations as a grihasta. And then when those obligations are fulfilled, which means when your children are old enough and can take care of your wife, they're married and can take care of your wife, then you could take sannyas. That's generally the procedure. So, good luck. I remember once when I was in a room with Srila Prabhupada, and Brahmananda, he was a sannyasi. And somehow the conversation, it was not a class, it was at the airport. Prabhupada did a lot of wonderful things in that short time we were there, said a lot of things, funny things. But in Brahmananda, someone was saying some things about the woman, the wives nowadays, and Brahmananda said, nowadays, the women want to go out and work, and they want the men to stay home and watch the kids. And Srila Prabhupada says, that is why you took sannyas. And then Brahmananda kind of felt a little bad, and Srila Prabhupada said, no, that is okay. He wasn't married, though. He didn't have a wife that he gave up. He was a brahmachari, and then he just took sannyas. But that was a nice, that is why you took sannyas. He felt that, no, that is okay. At that same meeting, there was Gopal Krishna, who is now Gopal Krishna Maharaj. He's like a big leader in ISKCON in India. He has many disciples, and he's doing a tremendous amount of service. He used to be in New York. I knew him when he was a householder in New York. Anyway, at this time, the room was small. The door was like there. Prabhupada was there. And there was, every devotees were just sitting all around. And Gopal Krishna, he was a householder at the time. He was standing in the doorway. And he had on his work clothes, his karmi clothes, they call them. Like he had on a sports jacket and pants. So Prabhupada was calling him in, and he looked, he was saying, I'm not dressed properly. He said, I just came straight from work. And Prabhupada said, no, you are the true sannyasi, not he who lights no fire and performs no work, which is a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. And then Prabhupada talked to him, and he said three things. He said, wherever grains are nicely kept, there is a good leader, and there are no quarrels in the household. Automatically, Lakshmi Devi will come into that home. Lakshmi is the goddess of fortune or money, you could say. Automatically, Lakshmi Devi will come into that home. He said, you don't even have to invite her. She will come automatically. And then the next thing Prabhupada said to Gopal Krishna, who just came from work, so you recently got a raise? And Gopal Krishna said, yes, Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada says, you should give that money to Bali Madan, who was the temple president at the time in New York. And he said, yes, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada knew we got a raise.
And did Maharaj give?
Well, he said he would, I'm sure he did. And that's why he's now a sannyasi. So if you give your money to the temple, you'll have a better chance of your wife kicking you out.
Now the Surup got a raise, Prabhu.
Well, I think he knows what he should do. So I don't want to take so much time. I don't know what the program is. I certainly don't mind reading more, but probably have something else. So I think we have these Bhagavatams are for sale too, right? Today is the day to purchase them, bring them home, or give them as a gift. And I think you can see there's one set. I don't know why that set looks higher than those sets.
It's in a different language.
Different language. What?
I think it's the Bhagavatam used to come like that before, and it's the newer print.
And also it's in another language called Tamil.
The print is different.
It's in Tamil.
So that might take longer than a week.
So Prabhuji, how long it took for you to read the whole book?
Well, I keep reading it over every, it takes probably a couple of years. We read every day some
The
verse.
very first time, very first time when you completed, right?
I have no idea when I you just
You
read
read some every day.
because of this purports. The purports are like the best part for us. So you have to read the purport. So it's like one verse, maybe 3 pages. And sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer. So it's not like this easy thing.
If you read a 40 pages a day.
But it doesn't matter how it's not.
If you read a 40 pages a day, you can complete in 1 year.
40 pages a day, you can finish in 1 year. It's not a race. It's try to purify yourself. Try to understand it. That's what you do. Not like you read. I remember one devotee. This was back in probably the late 60s. And he came, and he was a really good reader. And he read the whole Bhagavad Gita in just like one day or 2 days. And afterwards he said, he didn't remember anything. So then he read it slowly after that. The point is, you want to purify yourself. You're not having a contest. Like, the faster I read it, the pure. It's almost like if I chant, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, I'll get purified faster. You want to chant nicely. You don't want to read nicely. You're not rush it. You want to relish it. You want to relish the book.
Yeah, the purpose.
So is there any verse is there anywhere in Srimad Bhagavatam talks about congregational chanting, advice congregational chanting?
Yeah. Was it the 12th canto? Sankirtana. Yes. Do you know it? I don't know the Sanskrit.
The meaning.
We're on the spot. We're nervous. So. But it explains that in this age of Kali, the intelligent man will worship the Lord by this congregational chanting of the holy name. It doesn't say that.
Everything's
Yeah, and you're not going to remember, is this in there? And I've got to remember. You don't remember. Look at all that. Didn't I remember everything in it? And it's interesting because I read it many times, and every time that I read it, I see things and say, I don't remember this. It's like, how did I pass this up without? I think that this is something like I would remember, and I don't remember ever reading it. So
Prabhupada also said there's new lights every time you read it. You get new realizations because you evolve too spiritually, so you're going to see new things.
he said it's ever fresh. Ever fresh. It's like sometimes you get something, it's really fresh, and then the next day it's not so fresh. Bhagavatam is ever fresh, always.
And he recommends, like, when you meditate or worship the Lord, it's recommended you start at the lotus feet. So the Bhagavatam is non-different than Krishna's body. So it's recommended that we start at the first canto, which is first and second canto are like the Lord's lotus feet. And then you gradually move. The 5th canto is the Lord's navel. The 9th canto is his neck. When you get to the 10th canto, it's his smiling face. It's unique from the other 9 cantos, but by the time you get to the 10th canto, you should be God realized. In the preface, Prabhupada says how to read it. It's set up that way.
It's also important because if you get to the 10th canto and you see what Krishna's doing, if you read the first 9 cantos before that, you know that this is the Supreme Lord. Then when you see he's acting like an ordinary person, you're like, this is amazing. How he does do extraordinary things, but he still acts like it's like, if you understand that Mahavishnu is an expansion from Krishna, and Mahavishnu, all the universes, we're in one little universe. It's like a bag of mustard seeds. Each universe is like one mustard seed. And in that universe, it's half full with water. And then there's the rest of the other half, the upper part is all the different planets. And it seems like it's just such a small, this is just one breath of Mahavishnu. When he breathes out, all the universes come out. When he breathes in, they come back in. And Mahavishnu is an expansion of Krishna. So then you can appreciate when you see Krishna playing with the cowherd boys. Wow, wonderful he is. This is God. And he wants to, this is the highest understanding of God, because not just awe and reverence. When you worship Narayan or Vishnu, it's awe and reverence. Great Lord. But when you become more intimate, he doesn't want just somebody worshiping him all the time. He wants friends. So they get covered by Yoga Maya, where they forget that he's God. They just can't forget him. And they play with him. And they tell him he wants to go home because it's time to eat and his mother wants him to go home. They tell him, if you go home, we're not going to play with you anymore. And then he gets worried. It's not like, well, I know everything. He enjoys being in this atmosphere with his friends, his devotees that love him. So then he stays. And then his mother comes out really upset. You have to go home. Your father is not eating until you come. Then he has to go home, I mean, you can't appreciate that if you don't read the first 9 cantos and understand his position. Then you can really appreciate how this is so wonderful. I want to be there. I want to go there. I want to be part of that family, the friends, And this is a way to go there, by first getting the Bhagavatam and then reading the Bhagavatam. Okay, so we're going to have Arti.
Thank you very much, everybody, for coming. I missed out introducing Pyari Prabhu and Jiva Mataji when they walked in, because we were in a rush to start the program. ISKCON was established by Srila Prabhupada in 1966. ISKCON Connecticut was founded in 1976. And we actually are the oldest temple in the state of Connecticut. I believe there are 6 or 7 more temples now, but we precede everybody else. So, not to sound boastful, but just a historical fact, just some information. Our new temple is in Glastonbury, 14 Arbok Avenue. We have temple cards today. Before you leave, please take the information.
They have it already.
Oh, they have it already? Okay, good. He's 10 steps ahead of me. Pyari Prabhu came to ISKCON Connecticut in 1981, and he has been serving as the temple president since then, so almost like 4 decades. And Pyari Prabhu and his wife Jiva Mataji, who also has been with the temple since last almost 40 years, they have been the guide and the counselors and the teachers or the leaders for our congregation and our community since then. The rest of the program is, I believe we are distributing 10 sets today, Ravasingh Prabhu, and we have 2 more. If there's anybody here who's inspired to either take a set home or gift it to a friend, then you're welcome to do that. We would encourage, Srila Prabhupada said that, somebody will have to correct me, every gentleman or every should have a set of Srimad Bhagavatam at home, something like that he said. So we encourage, if you don't have that, you take a set home. We will have, are we playing the video?
We'll play the video after the
Aarti? Okay. So we will have a small Aarti now, installing Srimad Bhagavatam. And devotees who are sponsoring as gifts for other families or are inviting Srimad Bhagavatam to their home are invited at this point to come forward and offer flowers while the Aarti is going on. We are doing, both side by side just to save time. And after that we will play like a short video.
Srimad Bhagavatam is Krishna. It's not like, it is Krishna. It's not different from Krishna. So you can offer arti to the Srimad Bhagavatam. And by getting a set and bringing it to your house, you're inviting Krishna to your home. So it's not different from Krishna.
शरणागतं भगवतं स्वागतं भगवतं शरणागतं भगवतं स्वागतं भगवतं शरणागतं भगवतं सुस्वागतं भगवतं शरणागतं भगवता Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare
Pyari Mohan Prabhu, Characharya, Satara Sata Shri Srimad Divine Grace, Shalabhai Chandana Linda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pyari Mohan Prabhu, Characharya, Satara Sata Shri Srimad Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Paramsiko Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Gopadan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mahi Ki Jai. Jamuna Mahi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shrimati Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. Shri Shikorni Tai Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhaktavinda Ki Jai. Go Premananda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Go Premananda.
Hare Krishna. At this point, we are going to invite all the families that are taking a set home or the families that are gifting a set of Srimad Bhagavatam to other devotees. So as I call out your name, the giving family and the receiving family, please come forward and then we start the gift ceremony.
You may have to carry the whole thing.
Like in this, like a tower.
So there are boxes in that. So whenever anybody takes the book, we'll give you the box so that you can put your set in that.
Okay.
So it will not get mixed.
Mixed up. Okay.
We have some dollies also there. It's ready to eat. That's almost dollies.
Venki Prabhu is giving a gift of Srimad Bhagavatam to Prakash Prabhu and his family. I believe Prakash Prabhu is in India. Is his wife here today?
Please give the books.
Prakash
Shelton
Prabhu?
Mahavis.
Or is anybody from his family here today? No? Okay, so he's going to collect it later. To complete the ceremony, maybe notionally we'll have Ragasindhu Prabhu or somebody else take the gift. Prakash Prabhu and his nobody from his family.
I'll take.
You'll take? Okay.
Prakash Prabhu is in India. He asked me to take the
Take the gift. Okay.
He just came and asked me to give the book to him.
Picture with Pyari Prabhu.
picture.
It's a balloon. It's a selfie. You also.
I can't smile for that.
Yeah, let's do the box thing later.
Boxing later, yeah.
Next, number 2, Prakash Prabhu is giving a gift of Srimad Bhagavatam set to Venki Prabhu.
Prakash Prabhu.
Same Prakash Prabhu.
Same Prakash.
That's match fixing.
So he asked me to.
Yeah, you have to go. I should stand here.
How many times you coming up?
Number 3, Anonymous is sponsoring for Krishnan family from Massachusetts. That Anonymous is here. I don't know if he wants to step forward or not, but if not, then we'll have Pyari Prabhu give it to Krishnan Prabhu and his family.
You can come. Once again.
Yes.
Prabhu, you drove from Massachusetts?
Yes.
How long was it?
It's 2 hours.
Wow, hurry! Extra plate of prasada for them. Damodar Swarup Prabhu and his family are giving a gift of Srimad Bhagavatam set to Naveen Prabhu, Annapurna Mataji and their family. Alright, now little Tulsi is gonna pick all 12 candles.
So far, this is the heaviest of the books I picked up.
Annapurna Mataji, come I should mention that Venki Prabhu is from our Shelton Bhakti Viksha program, correct? And Naveen Prabhu and Annapurna Mataji are from our A1 Bhakti Viksha program. Damodar Swarup Prabhu is from our Varnan Bhakti Riksha program. Next, number 5 is Venugopal Prabhu and his family, sponsoring for Jayaraman Prabhu and family.
Jayaraman Prabhu from A1. Yes, Prabhu. Mataji can also.
And they're taking the Tamil set? Are you taking the Tamil set? Huh?
Tamil set is the
Tamil
last
set?
one.
No, that it takes extra 1 year, right?
The last one, yes.
Last one, yeah. This is the biggest set.
You can go.
This family is also from our A1 Bhakti Vriksha program.
You can get the best deal with that set.
Okay.
Advaita Chandra Prabhu and his family are sponsoring a set of Srimad Bhagavatam for Malay Prabhu and Sarita Mataji. From our Rocky and Bhakti Vriksha program. Hari Bol. Ravi Chandran Prabhu and Anju Mataji and family are inviting Lord Krishna in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam to their home. They come regularly for our Sunday Feast program. Prem Prabhu and Lakshmi Mataji are inviting Srimad Bhagavatam to their home. Shambhu Prabhu is sponsoring. Shambhu Prabhu is sponsoring Srimad Bhagavatam for Prem Prabhu and Lakshmi Mataji. Shambhu Prabhu, Prem Prabhu and Lakshmi Mataji are also from our Shelton Bhakti Vriksha program. Shambhu Prabhu has been very helpful in helping us organize programs in the south of Connecticut, where we did not have much presence initially. And Prem Prabhu and Lakshmi Mataji have also been very kind to invite Srimad Bhagavatam and open their homes to host this program today for us. Aaron Prabhu is, I'm jumping too much here. Yeah. Prem Prabhu and Lakshmi Mataji are also sponsoring a set of Srimad Bhagavatam for their friends. Are they here? Are they here? They didn't come?
They are in Germany.
Germany?
They are in
Temporarily. Oh, temporarily.
Just had its appearance day. Just a couple of days ago. A couple of days ago, Vamana Dev's appearance day. This volume tells all the whole story of Vamana Dev.
Aaron Prabhu is inviting Lord Krishna in the form of Srimad Bhagavatam to his home on this auspicious day today. not here. He comes regularly for our Sunday Feast program at the Glastonbury Temple. Parivi, Varshnaya and Pooja Pathak from Ahmedabad, Gujarat are sponsoring a set of Srimad Bhagavatam for Arnab and Sutiti Mataji.
Sit down. No. You also.
Harima.
Vishali. Tulsi.
If there's anybody else who would like to take a set home, then you can contact Damodar Swarup Prabhu or Radha Prabhu. I'm going to hand it over to Venki Prabhu and he's going to share something with us.
Hare Krishna everyone. So we have a monthly gathering at my house in Shelton or at HCC in Stratford. We are, with the grace of Pyari Prabhu's team and Srila Prabhupada, we are very lucky to have ISKCON devotees from the temple, from the team, come over to Shelton and explain and teach us what Bhagavad Gita means. So Bhagavad Gita, as per their teachings, they say that Bhagavad Gita is the philosophy or the book is more like a graduation in spirituality, and Bhagavatam is the next one, which is more like a postgraduate study of spirituality, and then the next one after that is Chaitanya Charitamrita, that is considered to be the PhD of spirituality. So we are right now in the 7th chapter. The next one is on October 5th. We are on 7th chapter. So we are lucky to we are very lucky to be learning chapter by chapter, verse by verse. So everybody who's coming from ISKCON Temple, Glastonbury, all the way to Shelton, they have been so in depth. The knowledge that they have, the way they explain. And we are really fortunate to have them come over all the way from there to Shelton, and with all their grace, unconditional love and compassion, they give us all the knowledge, and we are very lucky to have them. So if anybody is living close by or wherever you are, if you want to make it, please feel free to come over and learn Bhagavad Gita. And don't worry if you missed chapter 1 to 6. We will help you to summarize the information and what we've learned so far, and we'll continue. So we have a very nice group where I think we are about 15 people now. So the association is so divine. We feel really good about that we are having these people with us, and the feeling is unexplainable. So please feel free to join us, and if you need any information of the events, you can get in touch with me, or you can talk to Radha Prabhu. We'll give you the information, we'll send you information, we can add you to our email list. So please join. Thank you, Pyari Prabhu, for all your support and sending devotees from there. Thank you very much.
As Venki Prabhu explained, in our Bhakti Diksha program, we go systematically, verse by verse, chapter by chapter of Bhagavad Gita as it is. We have programs in Shelton and Avon, which are monthly programs. We have programs in Rocky Hill and Glastonbury, which are weekly. Glastonbury, Rocky Hill, and Vernon, which are weekly programs. If anybody is interested in organizing a similar program, either weekly or bi-weekly or monthly, then you can see Raga Sindhu Prabhu or Rasraj Prabhu, and we'll make arrangements for a devotee to come down to your area and conduct a program. And last but not the least, I want to thank Pyari Prabhu and Jiva Mataji one more time for giving us their precious time. It's pretty late by their standards. We still have a long drive back. And I also want to thank all of you who, Friday evening offers many distractions, but you chose to ignore all those and come for this auspicious program. So we've turned Friday the 13th into a really auspicious day today. Thank you very much. Prashadam?
Like video, 2 minutes.
Oh, video?
Just
Okay, sorry. Multi-dimensional processing is not happening.
So, Prabhuji wants to give one Bhagavatam set if someone wants to take it.
Okay. Arnab Prabhu wants to sponsor a set of Srimad Bhagavatam. If there is anybody in this assembly who wants to take one home, you can raise your hand.
Bhagavatam, 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 Sursvagatam, Bhagavatam, Saranagatam, Bhagavatam.
What's the next thing that somebody was telling me? Prashad. Prashadam is outside video.
How long is the video?
3 minutes, but you have a setup?
Yeah, setup is there on the laptop. I need to give.
So it's 3 minutes video.
Take time. Takes 11.
Sure. That's okay. You are with me. Okay. Please. Just 2 minutes.
Can we loudly chant Hari Bol 3 times with our hands raised for our hosts? Prem Prabhu and Mataji. Hari Bol! Hari Bol! Hari Bol! So a short movie now and then Prashadam.
3 minutes.
What is it? Okay, so you suggest that we bring plates? Okay. Okay, so everybody will make plate. You start the prashadam and then we'll have the video on. Instead of popcorn, you eat prashadam with the movie.
So, whoever is taking the Srimad Bhagavatam set, there are boxes there.